Hi, Lurking Yoshi. Welcome. Tutu, 나이시래요? Hi. Hello, hi. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Oh yes. Alright. How are you? I am doing very good today. Yeah. Oh, thank you for the head pat. What was I? I was doing something. Oh yes. Just opening up a couple more things here. And also, I think I will try to take how do you say, more breaks during ASMR streams to kind of rest my voice a little bit. Wait, let me throw my... Like, gonna be lurking a bit, playing Baldur's Gate with some friends. Oh, that sounds awesome. Yes, because I kind of feel it in my voice. Oh, also, hi Laughing Stock on YouTube. Hello, hi. Yeah, alright. Yeah, we should be multi-streaming now. Because Stream Elements, has like multi-streaming now, so I don't have to like use any like annoying plugins that add extra strain onto my PC. Alright, let me close my door first. There you go. Yeah, I feel like if I take breaks during ASMR streams, that will be much better for my voice long term. How's my day been? Laughing Stock, my day has been quite good. Yes. Yeah, my day's been pretty good. Hang on, I wanna change some stuff. Oh no, immersion break. Oh, this looks awful. You know what? Just turn it off. Fine. Yeah. Using that with the game thing doesn't look too good. Okay. You're continuing our playthrough of Higurashi. Okay, yeah, we read all of the tips, so... Oh, wait, hang on. I forgot, oh yeah, I forgot, it's not like a traditional, visual novel, right? No. Whatever. No worries. So, I believe at this point, just like a little recap, Keiichi has killed Satoko's uncle. And and he spent like all night. I mean, killing his uncle, her uncle, was like the easy part. He basically spent all night like trying to hide the body and everything. So now that he is killed, her uncle, and the body has been hidden. Has it been hidden well? We don't know. We shall see if he's gotten away with it. Yes. At first I thought it was a dream. I was staring at this single sheet, not really understanding what it was. That was all. I'll find a place to put it. Yeah. Put it like... I can put it on my head. On my ears, like that. There you go. That works. That was all. I didn't go after it, nor did I ridicule it. The fact was that the boring view was the ceiling of my own room, but I didn't realize that for a fairly long time. Yes, I thought I had been dreaming, but I had actually been staring at the ceiling the whole time. Thoughts on Kanye. I miss the old Kanye. Yeah. Miss the old Kanye. Finally somebody who gets me. Exactly. Welcome to the stream. Lethargy induced by the voices of the cicadas. Even after I realized I was awake, I couldn't draw forth the energy to sit up. Everything I could see, everything I could hear, everything was like a television broadcast that had already ended. It was hot. So hot, I could choke on the heat. My back was moist with night sweats, and it felt gross. Unable to endure it any longer, I tossed in my futon, and finally, blood started coursing through my brain. I lazily recalled the long day I had yesterday. The reality was, as I lay there listening to the voices of the cicadas, and yesterday so different from it. In order to kill Satoko's uncle, I had rehearsed, formulated a plan, and dug a hole. It was very hot, and I was tired, wasn't I? And when the evening came, I went to school and called him out on the phone. I panicked for a moment when he asked where the police station was, but it worked out. And then I awaited him and swooped down. Hang on, one moment. Mom had came into my room. She did not close the door. And then I awaited him and swooped down. I couldn't remember anymore what sort of emotions I'd let control my body. In any case, it didn't go smoothly, but I did it. It was very hard to dig the hole for the body. That feel of pain of rain pelting down on me, I don't think I'll ever forget it. The rain, the mud, and the sprays of blood. The sensation of floundering in a swamp. When I met Takano-san on the way home, That wasn't good, no matter how I interpreted it. It was the most unfortunate and misfortunate and uncalculated thing that had happened that night. Everything would have been perfect if I only hadn't encountered her. I was just riding my bike, with my shovel in one hand through the downpour, utterly soaked. There's no way someone could surmise I was a murderer burying a body just from that information. Now that I was thinking calmly, napping under the morning sun, that's what I thought. Still, the more I think about Takano-san's eyes, it seemed like she understood. Takano-san, she knew that I'd killed someone, buried them, and that I'd been on my way home, exhausted. Takano-san couldn't gain anything from selling me out to the police. But that didn't mean I could feel at ease. I should have killed her. I had crossed such a bridge to get my tranquil life back, and I'd finally achieved it as a result. But now for the rest of my life, for all the tranquil days starting today, I'd have to live in fear of when they could suddenly end. I may have twisted my ankle, dulled from total exhaustion. The fact that I couldn't make the snap judgment I needed to, I regretted it more and more as time went on. You didn't have a choice, Keiichi Maebara. You didn't have any choice at the time. You were tired. You were a mess. Even if you had made the decision, you might not have been able to kill her. She might have just beaten you instead. In that sense, parting ways uneventfully could have been the safer option. What's that on top of my bunny ears? Let's see. Well, there are 3 things on top of my bunny ears. There's the sub count. That's on Twitch, because we're live on both YouTube and Twitch at the moment. I did some calculating, and if we reach that, after Twitch takes its pay cut, half of the 2.0 model will be funded, and then on top of that is the kill count, because people die in this game, and typically in a game where people die we have the kill count, and then a special extra thing for the Higurashi series is we have the demon delay count, which is when somebody disappears. Yes. I also have horns because they're kind of cute. And my new design does have horns on them, so I wanted to kind of add it there. And yeah, that's pretty much everything. I hope that explained it. No matter how sharp Takano-san's intuition was, she had no proof. Hello. Oh, Ellen? Thanks for becoming a back rabbit. Welcome. I hope I'm saying your name right. No matter how sharp Takano-san's intuition was, she had no proof. Her suspecting me didn't amount to evidence by itself. Logically, I know that. Oh, you didn't realize the horns? Yeah, they're pretty small. The horns, unlike my actual design, are much more impressive. Yeah. Logically, I know that, but doesn't that mean I have to worry? But that doesn't mean I have to worry about it, doesn't it? But I cannot read. Logically, I know that, but that doesn't mean I have nothing to worry about, does it? Just worry about it when the time comes. Now isn't the time to be worrying. It's the time to be smiling, right? You accomplished so much just to gain a new life starting today, didn't you? Then you should be happy at this new morning. If remembering the past is too hard for you, then just consider everything up to yesterday as having never happened. You said so yourself. You'd bury it all like it never happened. Well, your wish came true. Everything before yesterday never happened. So be happy, Keiichi Maebara. Yay. I stuck up my hands lazily. It felt a little silly for me to be the one doing it. I heaved a sigh deep in my belly. That sigh got my lungs moving. It felt like I hadn't been breathing until just now. It wasn't enough to admonish myself forever. All the dice that would be thrown away, all the dice that could be thrown, already had been. And the numbers had turned up. And the numbers that turned up weren't bad at all. If I lost with those numbers, then I'd just have to give up, I guess. I grabbed... Oh, oopsie. I just realized I forgot to tweet that I was live. Oopsies. I always have my, I had the tweets pre-written and I forgot to hit them. Okay, there you go. I didn't add hashtags to them, but like whatever. I grabbed the chest of my pajamas and flipped it back and forth. Cool air flowed over my sweating body. Okay. Nothing before yesterday happened. Nothing. Nothing at all. I'd forget it all. Yesterday was all a dream. What time was it? About midday. Getting myself up and going to school this late seemed kind of absurd, but I needed to go. I felt like going to school would be the first step into my peaceful new life. I didn't care how late it was. I would go. I'd go to school right now and get back to the life I had retaken as soon as I could. My lazy body immediately became lighter at the thought. I rolled up out of the futon, bounced onto my knees, then leapt upright. Nice, stuck the landing. I stuck out my chest with pride at my gymless-like pose, then took a deep breath of fresh air. The brisk morning air had gone for a while, replaced by the crisp air of summer. Downstairs, I got a stern talking to by my mother. Where were you last night? When did you get back? You need to tell me when you won't be home for dinner. Things like that. But considering the importance of what I accomplished yesterday, a little scolding was no problem. Well, you know, she knew that you'd killed a man yesterday. I reckon that you would, everything else would seem pretty trivial now, wouldn't it? Imagine she's like, oh yes, I was sorry for missing my curfew, mother. I was out murdering a man. And she's like, and like the biggest thing, and she's not like upset that he murdered someone, she's upset that he missed his curfew. He's like, yeah? Well, next time you kill someone, make sure you're home by 7 p.m. In fact, they even felt like the sort of thing that would happen in such a peaceful life. I listened with an irresponsible smile and stepped out into the sun high overhead. It was around the time lunch break would be ending. Everyone would probably be worrying about me. I didn't go to the festival and now I wasn't at school. Maybe they weren't too worried about it. Since they would have gotten a small piece of news, but a happy one from Satsuka today. The small piece of news that her uncle hadn't come home last night. Satsuka would probably live her days in nervous tension for a while, thinking he might still come home. But eventually those days would end. And finally Satsuka would realize her uncle was never coming back. And then Rika-chan would quietly invite her. And she would say, "You can live with me again." And everything would be back to normal. Our lives would go back to how they were before that man appeared. Satsuka would start wearing that extraordinary smile, complete with those pursuing canines, and fool everyone with those traps she was so proud of. I'd probably be her first target out of everyone, but I wouldn't be mad. In fact, I might actually shed tears of joy at the return of something so normal. Satsuko, she'd gradually grow back into that meddlesome personality of hers. I mean, my lack of useful life skills was already completely exposed. I wonder if I'd ever be a match for Satsuko. But that would be such a pleasant thing to see too. With such warm, fuzzy predictions, it didn't feel bad going to school so late. In fact, I wanted to run there now to get there as soon as I could. Instead, I decided to savor the peacefulness of just going to school like normal, without running. Hello, radio. Oh wait, I already said hi. You're already here. I'm stupid, sorry. The world I'd obtained for myself, that gave me joy just by walking like this. Yeah, you were lurking, yeah. Sorry. I'm glad you're enjoying this stream. Yes. The world's beginning on this very day was something I had won. Without the monumental feat yesterday, I would never have been able to come to school so cheerfully today. The school gate came into sight. Just then, I heard the principal ringing the bell to mark the end of lunch break. It was a clear, refreshing sound. I stopped despite myself and let myself take it in. Tap. I'd stopped suddenly. It's the cop, isn't it? It's gonna be the cop. It's the cop. So there was an extra footstep. With a noise, the blessedness I was feeling throughout my whole body withdrew into every pore it could find. And as if to replace it, I felt like hundreds of hairy caterpillars were climbing up my feet. I turned back, but of course nobody was there. A single footstep could have easily been my imagination, but the footstep felt so ominous. The extra footstep I had heard after seeing Takano-san off last night. With everything that had happened on that insane night, I didn't mind something like that happening once. It had been a hell of a night after all. In fact, having just one hallucination was pretty fortunate. But those footsteps should have ended with yesterday. So if I heard them again today, was there really there was really only one thing it could have meant. Last night still wasn't over. It was still going. Still. That insane night. Forever. The step I heard, just that one extra footstep, was quietly ridiculing the nonsensical notion that the world starting today was completely different from the one that ended yesterday. You're back? Oh, welcome back. Hello. Hi. My classmates playing in the schoolyard all vanished inside like the tide going out. When I approached the school, it felt like that warm, fuzzy scene had ended, and it didn't feel good. At the entrance, I took a quick look in everyone's shoe boxes. Satsuko Hojo, she was here. I get timed out every time I go into other streamers' chat and ask about Kanye. Really?
Yes, hi, hello.
Oh, thank you for becoming a back rabbit. I don't think it was that, like, it wasn't like, I mean, that question didn't break any of the rules, so. It didn't violate any of the rules, so there's no reason to time you out over it. Honestly, it's a simple question. What do you think about Kanye? I miss the old Kanye. Yeah, I think, to me personally, I think it's a pretty simple answer. Mian was here too. And Rena, of course. Even Rika-chan was here. It's just because he's controversial. That is true. He lost his right mind. He did. He really did. It's very clear that he has the type... Yeah, his old music was really good, yeah. I think it's quite clear that he has the type of, like, mental illness that, like, you need to, like, be taking medicine for it. But he does not take the medicine for it at all. So... and, if you don't treat it, it gets worse. Yeah. You say Kanye then loved his Twisted Dark Fantasy record or whatever it's called, and I hated him again. That's valid. Tomita-kun and Okumura-kun were here, in fact. In fact, I didn't see any missing classmates. If there were shoes missing, they would have been my own. Says the stuff on his mind. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's his... very true. Loves attention. Yeah, that too, probably. It feels like a cocktail of just a whole bunch of really bad stuff. I took my shoes off and snuck them in, then took out some slippers. There wasn't a single pair left in the shoe boxes anymore. With that, they returned to their rightful state. But as I stepped onto the wooden floor, Ori is mental. Some of column A, some of column B. I noticed there was just one pair of slippers left. Huh? Whose? Thank you. Thanks for the hydrate. Satoshi Hojo. Who is dead, or... Satoshi, who had never been to school since disappearing last year. Until now. We had committed the same act of violence, but I guess in the end it went differently. You couldn't make it to school, but here I am. I didn't repeat the same mistake you made. I wasn't about to let myself feel superior about that. In fact, I felt an odd sense of familiarity with him. A misfortunate bond with someone I'd never met due to following the same fate. This is a visual novel series called Higurashi. It is about a boy named Keiichi Meibara who moves to a small rural village called Hinamizawa, and how do I explain it? And as the lore and stuff of the town is revealed, very unfortunate things happen. Hence the kill count. I headed down the hallway towards the usual classroom. Basically, every year in this village there is a festival to honor the town's guardian deity. And for the past 5 years, one person dies and one person goes missing on the day of this festival. No one really knows why. Some people think like it could be the work of it could be a supernatural thing, like the work of the deity, or maybe it's like a man-made thing. Maybe it's people who are doing it. I forgot to start the timer. I just looked at it and I noticed that it wasn't going down. Whoopsies. Koala moment. It felt like it had been a whole year since coming here. Hey, did you forget Keiichi Meibara? Satoshi Hojo didn't really disappear on the night of Watanagashi, did he? No, I'm pretty sure he did. I have to go now. See you next stream. Well, thanks for stopping by. I'll see you next time. Have a good day. Satoshi Hojo disappeared a few days later. On Satsuko's birthday, if I was right. I don't know why. I didn't know what day it was. But I couldn't say for sure I'd avoided Satoshi's failure unless I remained here past that day. I was still living in that night of insanity. The teacher still hadn't come into the classroom. The other door scattered open, the one the teacher wouldn't use, so everyone turned at once to see who had arrived. Everyone looked pretty vacant. I suppose I'll greet them. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I do thank you for coming all the way out here today. Silence. When I started to think I had fallen flat, someone finally started laughing for me. Okay. Good morning, Kei-chan. You're pretty energetic today. Yeah, energetic. Maybe you haven't gotten out of the festive mood yet, huh? Hearing Mion and Rena's cheerful voices made me realize how dumb those dark feelings I've been having at the entrance really were. Hey now, festive mood? I wasn't at the festival at all, remember? Before I could say that, Rika-chan smiled at me. I'm thinking because the day before he went to do the deed, he called me on, right? He called me on and told me on to take Satsuko to the festival. I'm thinking that they're all acting like he went in order to like provide him with some sort of alibi, I guess. So like if he does get questioned by the police, he can say like I was at the festival and like all my friends can vouch for me that I was there, basically. That's what I think. So if he's smart, I think he'll just go along with it. You know, they can't prove anything, so just deny, deny, deny. Keiichi, did you make sure to watch my dance? Yup, you saw it just fine. Did you see how big an applause he gave you? And he ignored it when that blockhead Cheon came and made a pass at him. Take that, Cheon. Wow, that felt good. Neon starts laughing at the memory as he slaps me a few times on the back. So, how did that target practice contest turn out in the end? Tomita-kun was facing me and talking. There was nobody behind me. That meant he was talking to me? Tomitake turned up dead last. Everyone had a good time with his punishment game. Weren't you supposed to be the one in last place, Rika-chan? It was such a turnaround when you pulled off getting that chewing gum. I should have expected that from a member of my club. It was fantastic. Crying at a time like that is only a feat only Furude would be allowed to do, said Okumura-kun, breathing heavily from his nose. In my direction. Everyone laughed. If anyone but Rika-chan had done it, it would have been against the rules. Rika-chan gave one of her nipa smiles as she listened to it. In my direction. Rena too turned to me, no, towards me. And then, with a somewhat embarrassed smile, she whispered to me so only I could hear. But really, thanks, Keiichi-kun. For what? That giant stuffed animal. Now, if you were here for the reading of chapter 1 of the first game, you would see that what am I saying? All the stuff that they're describing happened in the first game. I'm thinking my guess is that we're basically in a time loop, and I think the loop ends like whenever Keiichi dies. And even though it's a time loop, it's like everything is like slightly different each time. So like in this particular version, things are different because Satoko's uncle comes back and all that stuff happens. So all the stuff that they're describing with the target practice and the giant stuffed animal, all that stuff happened during the festival in the first game. Because in the first game, Keiichi actually did go to the festival. Because there's no reason for him not to. I was really happy. It's nice and safe, right? But it's nice and safe right at my bedside. And I made sure to give it a good night kiss before bed too. Huh. Glass laughed at that, cheering and jeering. This whole time, the conversation had been a little off. I wasn't quite getting it. What's this about a stuffed animal? Dude, I think you should just I think you would just play along. I would, because this is basically like a free alibi. Because if he's ever questioned, you can just say that he was at the festival that day at the time of the murder. And, you know, since there's like no proof of him committing the murder, and there's like a whole classroom of people saying that, oh yeah, I saw him that day, he was at the festival, this is what we did at the festival, then, you know, who can say? You, you can't really, you know? So I think you should just go with it. What's this? Come on, we all worked really hard at the festival yesterday to get it down, remember? The gigantic stuffed animal. The gigantic stuffed animal. Rena seemed taken aback, but once he answered, she did it with a smile. We were having a hard time knocking it over, so we tried aiming at the forehead and a rapid fire shooting and stuff. And then Keiichi-kun, you got a whole bunch of guns ready beforehand and shot them all. It was so cool. Wait, who was this? All the people in the neighborhood association, including the chairman, were praising you so much at the party afterwards. One of them said he'd fallen in love with you. He'd fallen in love with your way of words. Tokutsu Kimiyoshi, the chairman of the children's committee, I think. He said he wanted to entrust you with a few of the stalls at the next festival. Okay, an ad break is coming up, so I'm gonna take a quick break to get some water. Yeah. Thanks you guys for putting up with the ads, so people don't have to deal with pre-rolls when they join the stream. But I will be right back. Yep, whenever he talks about something, it seems a lot better than it actually is. You can't say that. Keiichi-kun, you'd be a great salesman. Welcome back. Thank you, laughingstock. Didn't you miss me? It's only gone for a couple of minutes, though. I bet if you did a bargain sale on bananas or something, it'd go great. What have you been talking about? I mean, I didn't go to the festival in the first place. Not... Well, I'm back now. Keiichi, he's so fucking stupid. I swallowed those words. I didn't know exactly why, but in Hinamizawa, this is what had happened. Yesterday, during the Watsunagashi festival, Keiichi Meibara had appeared. And he had romped about with all the usual members of his club. He made a big scene at a few of the stalls, snatched a few sticks of takoyaki and okonomitaki in his glee, rating each of them as delicious or terrible to get everyone excited. And then they'd seen a gigantic stuffed animal at the target practice game, and everyone went after it. And then I got a whole bunch of the cork guns, firing them in rapid succession, throwing each one away after using it. And admirably, I shot down the biggest stuffed animal there. And then I gave the stuffed animal the proof of my victory to Rena as a gift. Then our fun game came to a close, and as we'd go see Rika-chan's offertory dance, there was a ton of people squeezed in there, and we all got separated, but we each managed to get into good positions to cheer Rika-chan on form. Then in the middle, when Shion came on and asked me to go hang out with her, instead of watching the dedication dance. Okay, you see this right here? This is the catalyst for the second game. In the second game, instead of watching Rika's dance, he goes and hangs out with Shion, and that causes the events of chapter 2. I like how it all weaves together. I refused and stayed put, watching the dance until the very end. But who was that? Well, everyone's been saying it, haven't they? Keiichi Meibara. I had an urge to yell in anger at my classmates for having so much fun talking about the festival yesterday with Keiichi Meibara. What the hell are you guys even talking about? Far stronger than the feeling, though, was the sheer uncanny nature of this reality I couldn't understand. A Keiichi Meibara who wasn't me was in Hinamizawa yesterday. As I threw away my humanity, turned into a demon, and was busy beating Satsuko's uncle to death. I was having a great time at the festival last night. What the hell? I had to suffer through so much, desperately holding back tears, getting worn out in that downpour, digging holes, chasing, beating, killing, dragging and burying. Who was this Kenichi Meibara who had ignored me so and spent such a fun, carefree time at the festival, damn it? Who the hell stood in for me as I put my life on the line, working so hard to achieve this treasure-like everyday life? If there was another Keiichi Maebara besides me, then what was I? On the night of the Watsunagashi, where one had died and one disappeared, in accordance with Orishira-sama's curse, there was only a demon who had killed someone. Dumbfounded, as I succumbed to a horrifying possibility, I looked around at my classmates. To make sure there was nobody extra I didn't recognize among them. To make sure I wasn't among them. It was a horrifying thought. The real Keiichi Maebara hadn't overslept and come to school on time. And that I, who was no longer Keiichi Maebara, had just waltzed in here. But no matter how much I checked, the only people here were ones I knew. The man I met every time I looked in a bathroom mirror was not here. Okay, everyone. Time to start afternoon classes. Please take your seats. President, please lead the class. The teacher entered and everyone hurried back to their seats. Upon finding me, who was stupidly late, she gave me a stern talking to, but I wasn't listening to it. Wasn't our old life supposed to start today? Something wasn't right. It was just strange. I was supposed to go back to my old fun life after yesterday. I had set foot in an incomparably mysterious world that was completely different from both my old life and my recent one. Yes, this was without a doubt a different world than the one I had been living in until now. There was no way such an absurd thing would be possible. But unless it was true, I couldn't explain anything that just happened. In this classroom, I was surrounded by so many faces I knew, and yet I felt isolated. The cicadas sounded so different than they had before now, but they seemed somehow false. The air was parched and dry too, making me think, was the air in Hinamizawa always this uncomfortable? Hey Rena. What is it? We're in class. About the festival yesterday. About when would you say I got here? Huh? To be honest, I was pretty excited afterwards, and I gobbled down some cans of beer. I mean, it's kind of embarrassing, but I don't quite remember some things. For random babbling, it wasn't a bad excuse. Keiichi-kun, you said you couldn't come at first, didn't you? You called Mi-chan's house about it, right? That matched. I called Mion and told her to take Sadako in my place, since I wouldn't be able to meet up with them due to things I had to do. Murder. We all decided while we were setting up for the festival that we'd invite Satoko-chan. We wanted to bring her out someplace where she wouldn't see her uncle for a little while. That was the same too. Mion said that when I called her, that everyone had already decided to invite her. What is going on? And when we... And then we all went, me-chan, and Rika-chan to Satsuka's house and brought her out. Satsuko-chan's uncle seems like a really mean person. That part didn't matter. What I was trying to ask was... Well, when did I meet up with you? How could you forget that? Keiichi-kun, I think you shouldn't be drinking until you're an adult. Whatever. When did I meet up with you? Well... At my sudden threatening command, Rena was at a loss for words. Oops, I shouldn't have rushed that. I told her I was sorry. It was at the shrine grounds. It was unexpected. You were talking to Rika-chan, weren't you? Yep. You're having a fun talk with Rika-chan in her shrine maiden outfit. Then Rena came up and said, "Oh, I'm taking her home." I was talking to Rika-chan. Apparently? And I asked, "Kei-chan, didn't you have something to do today?" Then you pounded your chest and said it yourself. That letting loose at a festival was more important than some silly errand. I didn't say that. I never said anything like that. I never even went to the shrine grounds yesterday to begin with. I never had the time to stop by a place like that. I went to dig the hole as soon as I woke up. I had a pretty hard time doing it. After that, I snuck into the school and made a call. I called him out and lay in wait. And then it started raining really hard. With that kind of downpour, the festival should have come to a halt. In other words, it ended then. From the time the festival started to when it ended, it would have been impossible for me to swing by the shrine grounds. I was already there when Mion and the others dragged Satsuko out and brought her to the shrine. And I was talking to Rika-chan. Then, where would Rika-chan say we met? The teacher went out to wash her hands, so I ran over to Rika-chan's desk and asked her directly. With you? Yeah. We were talking to each other before Mion and the others got there, right? When did we see each other? When and where? I don't know what you're trying to ask. I, drank so much beer, I lost some of my memory. You drank beer? Aren't you like 12? What are you doing drinking beer for? They're lying. They are lying to help cover his ass because they know that he killed her uncle. That's what they're all doing. I don't remember a thing. It looked like a small town. Yeah. Yeah, it's a small, yeah, like, I feel like Mion told everyone that, like, just pretend that Keiichi was at the festival. And that's what they're doing. And I think Keiichi should just go with it. It looked like Rika-chan bought into my babbling. We saw each other when the mayor and the others came out of the assembly hall. Oh, I mean, don't criticize customs of kids drinking beer in small town. Oh yeah, that is true. I guess so. I guess because it's a small town. And it was a festival. So I'm assuming it's not something they would do often. You're in front of the ritual implement storehouse. Huh? What? The ritual implement storehouse? That's why they're cursed. Ah, I see. Plot twist, this is all an ad against underage drinking. This entire visual novel is all an ad against to warn you of the dangers of underage drinking. In reality, the whole town is drunk. Dun dun dun. Oh my god, the real killer of this series was alcohol. I'd never heard a building called that before. Or maybe I have. At the very least, I wouldn't know on where on the shrine's ground it was. I gotta go now. Need to catch up on ASMR before I go to bed. Good night and have a great weekend, Koala. Good night, laughing stock. Thanks for coming by and good night. I will have new ASMR videos out eventually. The mayor got real angry at you, since you shouldn't go near holy places without authority, remember? Keiichi, did you forget that too? I was too scared to ask anymore. The more I asked, the more it came clear without any doubt. Keiichi Maebara was present at the Furude Shrine Grounds during the Watsunagashi festival. The clearer that became, the more doubts, no, fears I had. Who on earth was I yesterday? Whoever that was, he had a good time in my place. And managed to go the entire day without letting them notice I wasn't there. Alright. When did that person leave everyone? This morning, my mother got mad at me for having stayed out so late last night. Which meant at the very least, Keiichi Maebara hadn't come home while my mother was still awake. The festival would have been closed because of the downpour. If I recall right, when I went back to the house's storage room to get another shovel, I think the clock said 7. Since it was already raining hard by then, the festival would have had to close down before 7. If I had returned that early, I would have definitely run into my parents. Or at the very least, they wouldn't have asked me when I got back last night. So the Keiichi Maebara from yesterday, that meant he never went home. That meant the downpour happened. The festival was broken up, everyone left, but he didn't go back to the house. That means... When I arrived at the natural conclusion, a wicked chill suddenly froze my spine and climbed up to my brain. That meant Keiichi Maebara was the same as Satoshi. One day, he never went home. On the night of the Watsunagashi, he never went home. The downpour interrupted the festival, and on the way home, he suddenly disappeared. And I, who was dealing with the corpse, went home without a problem. I was so tired, I wasn't even hungry, so I went up to my room without a sound and crawled into my futon. Who was I? That much was obvious. Keiichi Maebara. Keiichi Maebara was me. There may have been another one, but that doesn't negate the fact that I was Keiichi Maebara. Then that other Keiichi Maebara was what? The voices of the cicadas steadily filling the classroom were beginning to bother me. Suddenly, I laid eyes on Satoko. She still doesn't look so good. Satoko's expression was dark as always. She seemed completely exhausted at a life of agony she couldn't even imagine an ending to. What had last night been for Satoko? Did she have fun with everyone and felt a little happier? And felt a little happier even just for a moment? And when she went home, the end of her dream, she'd probably gone to sleep, afraid of when her uncle would return. And then this morning, her uncle hadn't come home. And when she went to school, right now, she must have still been trapped by the rotten idea from which she couldn't be saved, that her uncle would meet her when she got back. But you can rest easy, Satoko. Your uncle won't ever be coming back. I couldn't tell her it was because I killed him. When Satoko realized on her own that her uncle would never return, then that would truly be the end of a long, insane night. That's right. I didn't do anything wrong. I did the best possible thing I could have as Satoko's Nini. Not an atom in my body regretted it. I mean, he was a shitty child abuser, you know? Like, who cares that he died? He's a shitty child abuser who did nothing but, like, get drunk and gamble all day. So, like, I doubt he will be missed. And look, calm down and think, Keiichi Maebara. From a certain point of view, isn't it convenient there was another Keiichi Maebara? I buried the corpse perfectly. A beginning wouldn't happen. But if worse came to worse and it got out, and the investigation got to me, I now had a strong alibi, able to profess the fact that I'd been at the Watsunagashi festival. But accepting something so creepy and using it as an alibi, still, if I proved that I hadn't gone to the festival yesterday, it'd be no good and a whole lot of harm. That was what left the really, actually bad aftertaste. You'll forget about it, Keiichi Maebara. Everything that happened before today. Just forget about the Keiichi Maebara who was there yesterday too. Instead, let's watch gently over Satsuko for the day her smile returns. And the day that would mark the end of that insane, all too long night. That's all for today, class. Please go straight back to your houses, everyone. President, if you would. Everybody stand up at attention. Bow. Goodbye. I thought about many things, and saw my thoughts dispersed by many other things. I didn't know whether or not that time had been spent worrying or daydreaming, but either way, it came to an end along with the class. Cheerfully, our classmates got their things and ran for the hallway. Mion, Ren, and Rika-chan were all packing up as well. What about Satsuko? This whole day, she seemed deflated. Well, her uncle may not have returned last night, but she wouldn't have known he'd never return. How much I wanted to express that fact to her. Satsuko packed up her pencil box and math homework messily, and after a dark glance at the clock, heaved a sigh. Then went to leave the classroom. Then suddenly, somebody placed a hand on her shoulder and stopped her. What is it? I watered the plants like I was supposed to, and got all the printouts done. Her words, possessed by a persecution complex, hurt. I spoke loudly so everyone could hear. Hey everyone! Why don't we have club today? It's been a while. Satsuko always had to tend to her uncle, so club had been on hiatus. In our minds, our club was proof of a calm, peaceful life. By enjoying being together, I wanted to make Satsuko realize her days of darkness were over. I'm okay. I'll do it. Meep. Well, I mean, I don't mind. If it's okay with Satsuko. Under a condition. That was important. With everything up to her, Satsuko gave a worried look. Come on, Satsuko, it's been a long time. Let's go crazy. Well, I'm happy you feel that way, but my uncle might already be home. Thus spoke her darkened eyes, her mouth unmoving. You've been choking on life every day. For a while, you must be about to suffocate. It's not good for your mind or body. Once in a while, you've gotta have some fun. Please, leave it alone. It's not like I don't want to do club again. With one word, but... She looked down. Satsuko. You know as well as anyone that it's more fun with everyone, right? We're friends. That means we can spend time with each other. I mean, you had a great time at the festival yesterday with everyone, didn't you? Renaneri said something, but she was too late. Keiichi-san, what are you saying? My arm on her shoulder seemed to weigh her down, and she threw it off. When exactly was I playing and having fun at the festival? What? The only one having fun was you, Keiichi-san. Huh? I looked over to Mion for help, but now everyone was looking down. My instincts told me. that Satsuko hadn't gone to the festival, then and where was she? But Rena said it herself. That she went with Mion to Satsuko's house to invite her. Satsuko-chan left on the way there. She didn't go to the shrine. Why? I realized the absurdity of what I just said with Satsuko in front of me. She said her uncle was waiting at home and she couldn't have fun by herself when we were in front of the shrine. We tried to stop her too. We told her her uncle said it was okay and I wouldn't get mad if she had a good time. At some point, tears began welling up in Satsuko's eyes. Satsuko was so afraid of her uncle that she couldn't even allow herself some time with her friends and went home. Now, no, she was even afraid of letting herself have a good time with her friends. Keiichi-san, you must have it nice. Having a blast at the festival all night. They told me you went all out, didn't you? I'm very envious. Smiling to herself, her tears began to fall. I must provide for my uncle. It's completely different from you, how you let your parents do everything. Satsuko, oh no. I'm so glad you enjoyed yourself at the festival. I'm so glad you had enough fun for me too. I mean, I want to participate in the club too. Making such a racket with everyone is so much fun. But right now I can't. Unable to withstand such violent emotion, a few teardrops slid down her cheek. And even though she was having such a terrible time, not once did she ever say that it was hard on her. It was a sad, obstinate bravery. But the days when Satsuko had to feel like that were over. Satsuko didn't need to endure it, to bear it anymore. She could forget about it now and smile. I was so frustrated at not being able to tell her that directly. Instead, I said something that I'm not sure I should have said before I thought twice about it. He didn't come home, did he? The words were deeply meaningful to me, but I didn't know if Satsuko understood them. Didn't come home? Who? He didn't come home last night, did he? Your uncle? What are you talking about, Keiichi-san? Satsuko shouted with all her might. When has he not been there? When? Then who was the person that I bludgeoned to death last night? Oh god. Did I kill the wrong person? What's going on? Calm down. I mean, he didn't come home yesterday, did he? I don't understand what you're trying to say, Keiichi-san. Satsuko, what are you talking about? I mean that I killed him. I killed him. Killed him yesterday. Killed him for sure. And I buried him. Buried him whole. He could have never returned to his house. What? Even yesterday, he was torturing me so much. He yelled at me. He shouted at me. He found fault in everything I did. He threw the dinner I made him on the floor. He dumped his bowl of miso soup on me, too. Oh my god. It was hot. Oh my god. Poor baby. It was messy, and I cleaned all of it up. I cleaned all of it. Like, what? Our stories weren't matching up. Night? And this morning, when he woke me up to make him breakfast, he got so mad at me. He would have gotten mad at me whether I'd gotten up or not. Satsuko. Rika-chan went over to Satsuko and said a few words of consolation. But Satsuko angrily refused those words and thrust Rika-chan away. She's inconsolable. Nini, come back, come back. Crying, Satsuko slowly walked out into the hallway. After a moment, Rika-chan went after her. I couldn't stop thinking about the words Satsuko had spoken while crying. I buried her uncle last night. Ah yes, Higurashi, the perfect series to fall asleep to. It can be, depending. Although I'm a type of person who some of their like comfort movies are like horror movies, so it do be lit, but you know. I buried her uncle last night, but she said this morning that was impossible. I buried him last night, so she couldn't have seen her uncle this morning. What was Satsuko? At that point, I heard Mion's cold voice. Hey, Kei-chan? What did you mean about Satsuko's uncle? What is going on? What happened? Did we pull a Steins Gate and jump into a different timeline? I said too much. I let my emotions get the better of me. Rena heard it too. You said Satsuko's uncle didn't come home. Why? Didn't he come home? That's strange. Satsuko-chan's uncle was right there this morning, wasn't he? Then who did I kill? So why would you say he didn't come back? Come back. Kei-chan, you've been saying weird things for a while. Suddenly, Mion and Rena started to speak in strange and creepy voices. What were they doing? What were they saying? Kei-chan, is it somehow inconvenient for you for Satsuko's uncle to be around? No, what are you talking about? Of course it would be better if Satsuko's uncle wasn't here. Yep, that's true, of course. If only he wasn't here, right? What's going on? Something wasn't right. The next thing I knew, Mion and Rena were smiling thinly. I'm going to unironically fall asleep to bloody murder. Won't regret it though. I'm going to sleep to this now, thanks. You're welcome. Sweet dreams. Mwah. Her eyes were dark and muddy, in a way I'd never seen before. And as our eyes met, that mud seemed even seemed to fill the air. Satoko's uncle is an awful person, no doubt. I think we'd all be better off with him gone just as much as you do. But he's here. There's nothing we can do, right? Nothing we can do. Something's wrong. Something's clearly wrong here. What the hell was happening? For a moment, a chilly, liquid-like feeling, as though my blood had been mixed with sorbet, curled up my spine. No choice, I mean, of course there isn't, but... Then Satoko will never... If there's no choice, what would you do? Rena was trying to prompt me to say more. There really was no choice, so I killed him. I killed him to protect Satoko. That's... Leave him alone. I think things will resolve themselves soon enough. Satoko-chan said her uncle was here, so he's here. He was here yesterday, and he's here today. She said so, so it's fine, right? Right? Mion and Rena were speaking unbelievably dismissively. How could they be talking like that? Mion and Rena, they were my friends, and were seriously worried about Satoko's abuse, weren't they? They would never blurt out something like this. And I definitely killed Satoko's uncle. No matter what Satoko or anyone else says, I wouldn't acknowledge it, because him being alive was impossible. There is no way he was alive. It was impossible. And yet, since Satoko herself said he was here, then he was alive. I didn't know why or how, but suddenly Mion and Rena were at my sides, standing there silently. Let's go home, Kei-chan. After we leave, Rena wants to go treasure hunting for the first time in a while. Mi-chan's coming too. Kei-chan, you should come along. Of course, you're not allowed to refuse. What do you mean by that? If words could freeze blood, then there was no doubt, then they would have frozen me solid. I could hear it, a thin layer of ice, the sound of all my muscles tensing. And with them closely at my sides, we left the school, as if there were police officers taking me away. They talked about silly things the entire way home, like they always did, but they always stood at my sides as if to prevent me from escaping. This was strange. Everything about this day was strange. Actually, it had been strange ever since the previous night. Yes, thinking back, it had been strange ever since killing Satoko's uncle. That creepy meeting with Takano-san was only the beginning. That insane night was still continuing. Yes, it still hadn't ended. What? What's wrong, Kei-chan? Why did you suddenly stop? Sorry, it's nothing. When I stopped, it was distant, but I suddenly heard them. An extra set of footsteps. That was proof. Proof that insane night hadn't ended. Mion left where she usually did, and we finally came to my house. Okay, Keiichi-kun. Wait here for me. Rena will come pick you up soon. Yeah. Yeah. I stream for... I generally stream for like 3 or 4 hours. Yeah, we're only an hour and a half in, so I will still be live for a little bit. Yes, we'll be live for like an hour or two. What was it? Was she inviting me along on one of her oversized... Gonna be long asleep in 3 hours? Well, mayhaps I can help you sleep. That's basically the point of these streams. Help people fall asleep, or to just be like a background kind of companion while you relax and unwind. Oh yes, hydrate, thank you. What was it? Was she inviting me along? Don't forget to take another break if you need one. Yeah, I will, in like 10 minutes. What was it? Was she inviting me along on one of her oversized garbage treasure hunts at the dam site, right? But why now? Mion coming along was extra strange too. Mion may have accepted Rena's little hobby, but she hated fishing through garbage, so she'd never come with her before. And the location specifically being the dam site was a little creepy. The dam construction site was completely outside the flow of everyday life. It was so remote that no one ever went there unless they thought to in particular. Nobody lived there. There were no lights. So at night it got dark very quickly. I was being forcibly invited there. There was no reason I had to fear Rena and Mion. Besides, wouldn't the trouble I'd make by refusing them be a pain to deal with? In that way, it didn't seem like going treasure hunting with them was a bad idea. But that insane night was continuing. Haven't the sirens of instincts been wailing in my mind for a while now? Warning me that Rena and Mion were strange. That I needed to be cautious. The warnings were so freaking loud it felt like my head would split into two. Rena, I actually have something to do. Something to do? Like what? Like what? I have something to do, okay? If you had something to do, why didn't you say it while Mi-chan was here? I already told her to meet us at the dam site before we split up. Rena was smiling, but her words made her discomfort clear. Sorry. I just kind of missed the opportunity to say so. Really? You're lying, aren't you? You just made that up now. You just made that up now, you liar. Aw, fuck. Nah, shit. That's what Rena's eyes said to me. My head hurts. I might have a cold. Good night, I'm actually gonna sleep this time. Good night, sleep well. Thanks for stopping by. So I wanted to get it checked out and get some medicine. Really? That wasn't really a lie. My head did hurt a little bit, so I wasn't lying. Rena, she couldn't figure out if my head hurt or not just by looking at it. Then, I guess that's that. After staring me in the eyes for a few moments, he fired a sharp, needle-like stare at me. The tension in my body loosened, and I felt like my knees might buckle. If you're going to the clinic, you should go soon. Sometimes they close early. Thanks. I'll do that. Make sure you go, okay? To the hospital. I will. Go for real. I will. It seemed like Rena had realized I was going to refuse her invitation for a while now. With how serious she looks, she might actually call the clinic later to make sure I went. I couldn't say anything careless. Lying about getting checked out was just an excuse to decline her request in the first place. It didn't matter whether I actually went. Yeah, I'll go. If you want, I can bring you the bill tomorrow. Oh, that would be good. Be sure to bring it, okay? Rena will look at it then. Another tingle started crawling up my back. There was no ignoring it. Rena and Mion must have been monitoring my movements. That wasn't normal. Far from it. All of it was insane. I did what I did because I wanted my peaceful life back. But what on earth was all this? It was far from peaceful. Something had gone mad, leaving the world out of order. With the other Keiichi Meibara, with those creepy footsteps I've been hearing. With Rena and Mion acting so curious. And above all, with him being alive. Where was I? Hinamizawa Village, Shishibane. I knew that much. Was this really the Hinamizawa I knew? Hey, Keiichi Meibara, where is this? I asked, whipping around before the front door, to face the one who had been following me in my wake all day. Nobody would have been there, of course. Keiichi Meibara, huh? That's what I just called him. Called the one who had been tailing me this whole time. That shadowy presence, always clinging to me, like it was constantly watching for the opportunity to change places. Footsteps always following me was another impossibility. It couldn't have been a ghost, so it was just impossible. So the strangeness must have been my ears, my head, or Hinamizawa. Everything I could see was the exact Hinamizawa I knew well. I knew so well, and that gave me the creeps. Suspicious. Eventually, I decided to actually go to the clinic. I really didn't want to go outside. But a stronger feeling than that desire was the fear Rena might actually be keeping an eye on me to see if I went to the hospital. before I went to the clinic, there was something I wanted to make sure of. It was at the school. I pretended I'd forgotten something. I was going back to the classroom to pick it up. Is the baseball bat still there? Because you threw the baseball bat into the swamp. So if it's still there, red flag. As soon as the thought crossed my mind, I was overwhelmed by paranoia. I was just going to the classroom, but I faked it so much. I was just going to the classroom, but I hated it so much, having to be so careful to fake it. After carefully verifying once more that nobody was watching, I went over to the locker. Yes, Satoshi's locker. I committed the crime with the bat in this locker. Satoshi's bat. Then I had thrown the bat into the swamp, which meant the bat shouldn't have been inside. But what if the bat was still there? It was a very dreadful, incomprehensible idea, but if it was true, it would explain a lot. If the bat was in there, yesterday's events would have all been a delusion. No, an illusion. I hadn't killed anyone, and I'd gone to the festival. I had a great time rampaging about with everyone. It would prove that Keiichi Maebara really was me. Proof that I was only under some strange assumption that I killed Sataka's uncle. Proof that it had all been a wild fantasy. That would explain everything. Nothing happened yesterday. I had just gone mad, unable to separate my shocking uncle-killing dream from reality. That would explain everything. If the bat was here, would I be able to accept that reality? If it was here, nothing will have changed. If it was here, it would just mean I'd gone crazy. Preparing myself for the worst, I opened the locker door. I was actually scared of opening up slowly, so I threw it open with a bang. And just like the first time, the choking scent of smell and sweat like a stale towel came flowing out. There was a baseball uniform and some miscellaneous other things like notebooks. There was also a shoe pouch, and as for the bat, it wasn't there. It was how I left it when I took the bat out. There's no doubt. Yesterday really happened. Now that I knew I wasn't a lunatic, I felt relieved. But at the same time, if I wasn't the crazy one, then Hinamizawa was. And that was evidence of a reality I found just as difficult to accept. There was a noise somehow creeping into everything I saw, and the world was losing a tiny bit of color. So, what did I know about last night now? Now that I made sure the bat wasn't there, I didn't need to be here anymore. Shall I go? For real, to the hospital? It was my first time going to the hospital, but from what I'd heard, it wasn't far from school. My mom had told me there was a big easy-to-see road. There's a big easy-to-see road that went straight there. I went past the shopping street, made a turn. It wasn't overly hard to spot the sign with Ire Clinic written on it. There was one other person, an older man, there in the air-conditioned waiting room. I went up to the counter and told them it was my first time here. The man at the counter glanced at the clock and said there would be a short wait. It was almost 5. Clinic hours would be ending soon. As I sat in this unfamiliar waiting room, isolated from everyone, and let myself feel the cool air, I actually felt relieved. What should I tell the doctor when he comes? I could tell him I had a cold, but I was the very picture of health. Actually, I wanted him to check my head. I wanted someone to confirm for me whether I was really sane or not. Keiichi Mibara-san, please come into the examination room. Huh? The voice from the other side of the examination curtain. I thought I heard it somewhere before. It's Takano-san, isn't it? Oh. Coach? I thought he was a coach, not a doctor. Hello? This is the first time we've seen each other here. Coach? Coach, you were a doctor? Now that you mention it, he did seem to know his way around when he was looking at my shoulder in the nurse's office. It would make sense if he was actually a doctor. Come to think of it, our teacher called him Ire-sensei, didn't he? Well, yes, I'm more or less a doctor here. Alright, I'm gonna take, Ada's coming in like less than a minute, so I'm gonna take a quick break. I shall be right back. I'll put on the rain sounds in the background for you guys to listen to. Here you go. Alright, we're back. Thanks for putting up with those ads so incoming viewers don't have to deal with those pesky pre-roll ads. Well, yes, I'm more or less a doctor here. Doctors have it really good, you know. Sir? You get to see and touch all that young, silky, smooth skin. Oh boy. What the heck is this guy on about? Yeah, what the fuck? Sir? Also, thanks for subscribing, radio. Bruh, indeed. Bruh, indeed. I forgot that this guy was kind of a weirdo. But yeah, thank you for resubscribing. 7 months. Thank you very much. Just seeing that made my cold go away. I'll be leaving now. Yeah. Polite bow. I forgot I had it to 3 months, and for a moment I thought Twitch increased their price by a lot. If Twitch like made it that much, I think I would probably be like, okay. Yeah, I'd probably just like turn off subscriptions at that point. I'd be like, okay, you know what, never mind. I might just move to YouTube at that point. Is there already? It kinda is, to be honest. Yeah. Especially for, yeah, it really is, to be honest. I'll be leaving now, polite bow. Wait, Mifara-san. A joke, it was a joke. Come, sit down, and let me take a look at you. Jesus, what is wrong with this man? For some reason, I felt really relieved. After that insane night, as much as I thought everything had gone crazy, Coach was here doing the same thing he always did. I was very happy for that. You don't seem to have a cold. Actually, those scrapes and cuts all over you seem to be the painful thing. Oh, don't mind them. Those are just injuries I sustained while I was burying the body of the man I killed last night. Which, I guess, was the wrong man. Somehow. Don't tell me you were playing in the bushes with short sleeves and shorts. No. I mean, I can't say for sure you haven't been infected with tinnitus. With tetanus. No wait, tinnitus is the ear thing. Oh. As I was chasing that man last night, I kept being scraped by bits of trees. I didn't realize I had so many cuts. You went a little too crazy at the festival yesterday. Enjoy that while you're young. Once again, I apparently went to the festival. Coach, did you go to it? To the festival? Yes, of course I did. I may be a doctor, but I'm also on the Watsunagashi Executive Committee. Did you see me there? This coach was the same coach I'd always known, and I felt like I could trust him more than my weird friends, so I asked. Well, actually, I was drinking in the main tent with the chairman and the others the whole time, and I didn't go to see the festival at all. Oh, god fucking damn it. Useless. I don't think I saw you. Oh. That was a strange question. Did you have too much to drink and forget what happened last night? Apparently. Yes? Yes, radio? And underage too, you bad child. Coach had laughed. You didn't laugh. I'm watching Twin Peaks, and it kind of reminds me of Higurashi. Twin Peaks. I haven't heard of this. What is it about? You didn't laugh in an unnatural way like Mion and Rena did. Coach was okay. Small town with mysterious things happening. Oh, I might have to check that out. He was the coach from the world I knew. He wasn't someone from this old TV show directed by David Lynch. Interesting. Oh, I'll have to see if Teddy will watch it with me. He wasn't someone from this abnormal world. There's a new season some years ago. Oh. Well, this all might seem a little weird to you, but I want you to hear me out without laughing. Yes, go ahead. Original 2 seasons were from 1992. Oh, that is old. That's from a while ago. Yes, go ahead. I greatly welcome any shy, bashful worries. Could it be possible that I have an identical twin? Coach hadn't expected that question at all, and didn't say anything for a moment. Well, the concept of doppelgangers is a thing in quite a bit of cultures, and usually having a doppelganger is never a good thing. It's usually an omen. And couldn't say anything for a moment. And then he smiled calmly and quietly answered. This is just a superstition, but I've heard before that everyone has 2 other people in the world who look just like them. If there was, I'd certainly like to meet him now. Also, there are plenty of fairy tales where a person's double appears. The German ones about doppelgangers are probably the most famous. Yeah. Doppelgangers? Yes. They look exactly like another person. Apparently they herald misfortune, and if you meet one, you're sure to die soon. I think that's how it went. Yeah. When you meet them, you're sure to die soon. The story ended directly in death, plain and simple, and it made my spine tingle. It's not the good ASMR tingles ad either. Coach wasn't saying it to scare me though. He was just offering a casual anecdote. That made it feel all the more real. Have you ever heard of one of those things showing up in Hinamizawa? What? Well, I can't say I have. Coach must have thought he was being teased, so he laughed in an exaggerated way. But when I didn't smile along with him, his laughter steadily grew fainter. Sorry, I was being sort of serious. No, I apologize for laughing. Was there something you were worried about? I wonder if I should tell him after resolving myself. One final time, I slowly spoke. I didn't go to the festival yesterday. Is that right? Well, there'll be one next year. And then you can... That's not what I meant. I didn't go to the festival, but according to everyone else, I was there. Could that even be possible? After blinking his eyes in amazement, Coach thought seriously about what I was trying to say. And he answered, choosing his words carefully. Let me make sure I have this right. Maibara-kun, you went to the Watsunakashi festival, but don't remember it, am I right? I was trying to say something completely different, but I suppose any sane person would come to that conclusion. That night, Keiichi Maibara was actually at the festival, but I was saying I didn't go. That obviously meant my memories of going there had failed me. But that was absolutely impossible. That vivid act I'd committed during the downpour couldn't have possibly been an illusion. All these scrapes on my body prove it, as does the fact that the bat wasn't in the locker. No, it's not that, Coach. I really did go to the festival. Please don't take offense, Maibara-san. Have you ever had an experience? Sorry, I was just adjusting how I'm sitting. Have you ever had an experience where you were suddenly unaware, suddenly somewhere unfamiliar, and couldn't remember why? No. And I didn't lose my memories or anything. Because while the festival was going on, I was definitely doing something else. It wasn't like I was asleep and unconscious or anything. You're certain you're doing something else? I know I'm being awfully rude, but are you sure you're not mistaken? I know I'm not. My memories are clear as day, and they were real. During the festival, you weren't at the shrine, and you were doing something else. I was killing a man. Yes. Can you definitively prove that? That's right. Thinking it through brought me to this. There's only one way to prove I really wasn't at the festival yesterday. And that was to show that there was no doubt I had killed her uncle. Coach saw me struggling to answer, and his eyes looked a little cold. I guess they would. After all, from Coach's perspective, I was just a weirdo sputtering nonsense. Would you like to lay down? Maybe you should relax and take it easy for a bit. Sorry, I didn't really come here to lay down. You seem to be a little worked up. Why don't I give you a sedative that'll let you sleep for a bit? That way, I'm not being strange. Coach seemed to realize he was treating me like a deviant, and he raised his voice. I apologize if I offended you, so please calm down. I definitely didn't go to the festival. That's the truth. I understand. I understand, so please calm down. Take a deep breath. No, you don't understand at all. Coach was stunned and stared in stupefaction. I do understand, Megara-san. You didn't go to the festival yesterday, is that right? I believe you. I believe you. Oh fuck, he's writing shit down. He's writing stuff down, he thinks we're crazy. Coach jotted down a brief note in his records. He was writing it in German, so that his patient wouldn't know what it said. But I could take a good guess as to what he wrote. You won't believe me until I tell you everything I was doing at the time, will you? No, I believe you. Please sit down. Before I sat, I tilted my head back a little. The blood in my face all drained out, and I quieted down. After taking a deep breath, I made sure I was calm now. It would have been impossible for me to be at the festival, because at the time I was... Should I tell him or not? I really didn't want to go on living like this, feeling this horrible. And I said them, the final fatal words, because I was killing Satoko's uncle at the time. I could smell the concrete in the room. I could feel the air around us harden. Nobody moved. Only the sound of the clock ticking told us time hadn't stopped. With his mouth wide open, Coach even forgot to blink for a while. You killed Satoko's uncle? Yeah. It's fine now, Keiichi Maebara. Don't hesitate. Admit it with all your strength. Yes. Last night, I did it. I killed him. I spoke clearly and fluidly. I could easily tell that Coach's mind had gone completely blank. Why would you... No. That was a foolish question. I believed it was the most direct method of saving Satoko, so I carried it out. I don't have any regrets. I see. Coach smiled thinly and nodded a bit. So I couldn't have been at the festival. I left the brightness of my house for the darkness of the outside. After that, I dug holes, made phone calls, had my hands full, and then I attacked him, killed him, and buried him. It was pouring hard at the time. The festival started at the evening, but was suspended due to the rain. There were no gaps in my memories. From late afternoon until it started to rain, there is no time for me to have possibly gone to the festival. And those wounds, are they from that? Yes. There's a road through the forest near Satoko's house. I attacked him there. He ran, but I chased him, and finally killed him near the road that leads to town. Is that true? Killing her uncle. It wasn't some wild fantasy? I could tell that Coach didn't believe me. Oh, Scarlet, thank you for the raid. Hello, welcome readers. My name is Koalo Amai. I'm a VTuber and ASMR artist, and I'm also a member of Truth the Light, which is me and Scarlet's generation of Love Jim. Yes. I hope you had a good stream, Scarlet. If you guys have to raid and run, I totally understand. But if you want to stay and relax for a bit, then yeah, we'll be happy to have you. So I spoke slowly, not letting myself grow excited. It's true. I killed him with Satoshi's bat. I threw it and the uncle's motorbike into the swamp. I dug a hole, killed him, and buried him. I did it all by myself. Satoko-chan's uncle drove past you on a motorbike, didn't he? Then you predicted he'd do just that and waited? I assumed he wouldn't be leaving his house that day, so I lied to him over the phone to get him out. You called him? But your house is so far away from Satoko-chan's. I wouldn't think you'd be able to make it there so soon after calling him. I used the phone closer to where I was going to attack him, the one at the school. But Meibara-san, it was Sunday. Wouldn't the school have been locked up? A forest ranger happens to go inside for a bit, and I slept in when I had the chance. After that, Coach grilled me on a few different things regarding the incident. She made sure to question me carefully, looking for any contradictions in my account. I'll believe you. What you did yesterday doesn't seem like a dream. I explained everything, including minor details that only someone who had actually committed the act could explain. I could, of course. It was only yesterday. Coach realized that my story had no expedient coincidences or too convenient details that would have existed in a daydream or a delusion, and finally seems to want to believe me. So do you still think I went to the festival and lost my memory? Coach slowly shook his head. But everyone in class, they said I was at the festival yesterday. Is that even possible? No, it's not. Your classmates probably mistook you for someone who looked very similar. Then, given how group psychology works, everyone just assumed you had been at the festival. They couldn't have mistaken me. Mion and the rest said they were spending time with Keiichi Meibara. It was more than just having mistaken someone else from me. But saying that out loud would just confuse Coach. He spoke to me in whispered tones. Do you feel guilty at all? It didn't sound like he was criticizing me. Do I feel guilty about killing the child abuser? Not particularly, no. Even if he had, I would have flatly said the same thing. I don't. I did it so I could return to the peaceful days that he'd stolen from us. So I plan to forget all about having killed him and live my life as usual. Once Satoko's regular smile returns, the one from before he showed up, everything will finally be over. Any chance that someone witnessed the crime? I don't think so. If someone had seen me, I would have been arrested already. I am a doctor. My job is to save lives. So I cannot take any statements to the effect of condoning the taking of another's life. So instead, I will say this. Coach slowly rose and placed a hand on my shoulder. For saving Satoko-san, I thank you. Coach's eyes started shedding warm tears. When I looked at him, How much longer are you streaming? Probably, probably until I finish this chapter. Yeah. So, I'm not sure how long, but, minimum, I plan on streaming for at least 3 hours, so. Yeah. If you may, probably long enough for you to fall asleep too. When I looked at him, I started to feel some tears on my own. Be back later to have you help you sleep. Just need to prepare. Okay. I will be here. Don't worry. Yeah. Don't worry, I'll be here for a while. I started to feel some tears of my own. I didn't know what I was crying for. And so for a little while, the two men in the room fought back their tears. But it's strange. What is? I'm sure I killed him, and yet he seems to have returned home alive. Coach's expression immediately sharpened. Depending on the situation, there are many ways that mere unconsciousness can look like real death to a lay person. Do you think it's possible he was just knocked out? I didn't check for a pulse, but I'm pretty sure I did him in. Can I ask you to reproduce the situation in which you attacked him, Maybara-san? Coach rolled up a health and fitness week poster nearby and offered it to me to represent the bat. Though I may have been lost to the emotions of a beast that night, I remembered in detail the number of times I swung the bat, the angles I had swung them from, and the force I had applied. Using Coach as a stand-in for the uncle, I reproduced them over, one by one. And when he tripped and fell, I bashed him in the top of the head like this. When I did it, it felt different from the other strikes. I thought I had cracked his skull. Coach was calmly analyzing the information, using the places I'd struck in the situation at hand, to find out what state the uncle's body had been in. I wasn't totally sure he was dead, so I hit him a few more times after he fell. Did he react at all? At first, I sort of felt his body jolting with every hit, but eventually that stopped too, and he didn't react at all. Coach folded his arms and said, a few times. Then he spoke. He's dead. There's not much doubt about it. He didn't just look like he was? I can't say very much just from your story, Maybara-san, but I think it's almost certain. Besides, you buried the corpse in the mud, and that took you quite a bit of time, right? Let's say it took you 30 minutes. That would mean he was buried under that muddy water for those 30 minutes. You can't breathe for that long. If you don't breathe for that long, your brain will die no matter what. You mean, even ignoring how hard I hit him, you would definitely have died while I was burying him? That's right. It's impossible to stay alive buried underground for 30 minutes. Impossible, you're right. But Satsuko, she says he's alive. Coach, a doctor, just gave his stamp of approval that he was dead for sure. That it made it seem all the more unfair that he would still be among the living. Maybara-san, this is a really horrible idea, but is it possible that the person you killed wasn't actually her uncle? I thought about that too. That did cross my mind. Huh? He's right. That could be why. It cleared up the inconsistency of my definitely having killed someone, but him still being alive. There's no way. I mean, we were both at Satsuko's house when he was bringing his alcohol inside. And there was a man who stuck his face out the window to look. It was him, right? That was Satsuko's uncle, right? Yes. You're not wrong. It was that man. Could she have more than one uncle or something? Not one that I ever heard of. It's just him. Could you tell me what he looked like? Well, his height first. He was about 175 centimeters, maybe a little taller. Okay. In order to eliminate the worst possibility that I had killed someone else, Coach began to thoroughly compare what the man in his mind looked like with what I told him the person I killed looked like. But no matter how in-depth my description went, none of the characteristics differed. The uncle's traits, according to Coates, were all exactly the same as the person I'd killed. But those traits were extremely vague, and they weren't particularly distinct at a glance. I mean, at this point, we have to go to Satsuko's house to confirm it, right? Is there anything else about him that would let us identify him for sure? Now that you mentioned it, I've never seen it, but I believe Satsuko-san once said a long time ago that he had a tattoo of a tiger or something on his back. A tattoo? That was really important. Not everyone had a tattoo. If I found a tiger tattoo on the back of the man's corpse, it would be proof that I killed the right one. At the moment, though, there is one other thing that would verify this. Go to Satsuko's house and see for myself the uncle that returned home despite having died. But that was far more terrifying than digging up the body and looking at its back. Even without looking at the tattoo, I knew for sure the one I'd killed had been Satsuko's uncle. I cracked his head open and killed him. And yet, he had gone back home. There wasn't any misunderstanding, or even the shadow of a doubt in my mind about having killed him. And yet, it was impossible for him to exist. Kind of like how Keiichi Maibara had been at the festival, despite it being impossible. That small commonality made me feel as though a faint but bizarre force was permeating this insane Hinamizawa. I wondered, what on earth could have happened? Despite you not having gone to the festival and killing Satsuko's uncle, you're at the festival, and the uncle you killed is alive. None of this makes any sense. When I look at everything that way, it's almost like I'm having a nightmare, and there's no killer at all. But it's the truth. The sensation as I used my own hands and that bat to bash him again and again, it was no illusion or dream. Coach let out a slow sigh, then after looking at the clock, got up. Let's go over this all a little more seriously. If you excuse me, I'll go put on some tea. Clinic's about to close after all. I need to let the other employees leave. Coach stood up and went out into the hallway. leaving me alone. The clock was about to strike 6. I was at the festival, and the uncle I had killed was alive. Had I really committed murder yesterday? The only whisper of a fact that proved it happened was the absence of the bat from Satoshi's locker. In any case, I was glad that Coach had taken my nonsense seriously. I had just confessed to murder. Normally, that would frighten a person away. But Coach didn't run, he cried with me. I was glad he did. Like so, my tension smoothly melted away, and I realized I really had to urinate. I thought to use the restroom while Coach had stepped out. There was one across from the waiting room. As I left the room, I saw Coach and 2 male doctors wearing white clothing standing in the shadows of the hallway nearby. I didn't particularly intend to eavesdrop or anything, but I was quite surprised upon noticing how uneasy they seemed. I hid behind a wall and quietly listened in. It seemed like Coach was giving directions to the 2 doctors. Black tea? I'll make some. What? Mix in abnoboritol or raffinol? I'm not sure, but I'm assuming those are sedatives. Cover the taste with milk and sugar. He may grow suspicious at the sudden onset of drowsiness. Oh, hi, Radio. You on YouTube? Yeah, it's been a while since I streamed on YouTube. It's possible he may get agitated and become violent. We will handle that. I'll leave you on my tea, because this one I can actually have in the background. Okay. Good night, Radio. Sweet dreams. We will handle that. How many male staff are still here? 1 mountain dog, including us 3. But what was all this? I think I was already agitated, despite what Coach said. What was it? It was just a casual conversation. And it was only sounding unbelievable to me. Coach said he'd bring some black tea and left the room. And then in the shadows, he was telling his subordinates to put some kind of sleeping powder in the tea. Plus, they were getting an extra help in case I thought the sudden sleepiness was suspicious and started getting violent. Wait, Keiichi Maebara. Calm down. There's no way something this stupid could be happening. I mean, he was genuinely listening to my story and he even cried with me. I thought he was the one person in Hinamizawa who would understand. This was... There are signs of fabrications or falsehoods, and his memories of yesterday in particular are completely confused. He can no longer tell the truth from falsehood. It's quite similar to multiple personality disorder. But as for how quickly this mental disorder emerged, it's just not normal. Maybe it's inborn, or perhaps there were signs of it before he moved here. I'd like to take a look at any records of him staying at a mental hospital before he moved here. In any case, I want him to take a quiet nap. The 2 doctors nodded deeply. I should probably contact Maebara's parents too, though I can't think of what to tell them. Please find his home phone number for me. My eyes, still moist, began to shed tears once more. This was too cruel. I really thought he had actually understood, and had believed what I told him. But from the other side of that wall, he was bluntly treating me like I was like a crazy person. I believed you. I let down my guard because I thought you were the only ally I had after that insane night. Was that a lie? All that about thanking me on Satsuko's behalf. You were just pretending in order to keep me placated? Ugh. My tears fell to the floor in frustration. I was an idiot. I was such an idiot for believing that bastard. I heard footsteps approaching the doctors. A man in a dress shirt with no tie came running up. Dr. Ire, it's terrible. They found Takano-san. Takano-san? Wait, where? Well, apparently they discovered her burnt corpse in the mountains in Gifu. She's dead? Takano-san? The men, all surprised, exchanged glances. Dead? Takano-san. Wait. So does that mean when I cursed her, wishing for her death, that wish was granted? What do you mean, burnt corpse? Was it an accident? According to the Gifu police statement, the possibility is extremely high that she was murdered. As I cried, I laughed quietly. Serves you right. If I hadn't run into that woman, my murder would have been perfect. She just had to come driving up to me and tried to coerce me like that. I regretted not having killed her on the spot, but now she was dead anyway. My curse, my wish for her demise, it was fulfilled. Serves you right. Risa-san died and Takano-san died. What on earth could be happening in Hinamizawa? Don't tell me that this was all Oyashiro-san was cursed for this year? Like hell, I'll let the curse be real, Coach said. Everyone present just nodded as Coach cursed at no one in particular. Yes, maybe it wasn't. Do you make any decisions in this game? No, you don't. It seems to be like a very, it's what you call a kinetic novel. In a kinetic novel, it's basically like a linear story, so you don't make choices. But this was definitely a curse. I wished for her to die, so she did. If it wasn't just a coincidence, and she died because I had wished for it, then you'll die next, Coach. You betrayed me. You pretended to believe me, but deep down you thought I was a madman. You looked down at me with all that pity in your eyes. For now, get the black tea ready. I'll bring it inside. I don't think he'd let anyone besides me be alone with him. Shit. What do I do? Keiichi Maebara? This time I heard the voice of a nurse. Dr. Rie? Oh, there you are. You have a phone call. I'm a little busy at the moment, so please tell them to call back. Who's it from? A Mr. Oishi from the Okinomiya Police Department? Gosh, what bad timing. Alright, I'll answer. Coach left to go answer the phone. The other men headed towards the room with the teapot to make black tea, like Coach had ordered them to. Fortunately, Coach having to make that phone call meant there'd be extra time for me to act. I had to decide what to do now. Would I let him make me drink the sedative-infused tea, or be held down and thrown into a mental hospital? Nothing would come from starting a brawl here. They had more people anyway, and they were all bigger than me. It came to a fight. I didn't stand a chance in hell. If I couldn't win against them, then there was only one thing left to do. Run. Adrenaline suddenly rushed into my brain, and my body started to move with keen instinct, like it had on that night. My surface temperature quickly cooled, and the transmission rates between my cells enlarged. Using 360-degree visual information, I searched for an escape route. I would open the window behind me. Outside was a parking lot. There were no cars. A little behind, there was the bicycle I had taken to get there. I determined this would be the quickest method of escape. I approached the window swiftly, but with little sound, to raise as little suspicion as I could. With the speed and silence of a shadow, like I had on the night I had chased her uncle, I unlocked the window and opened it up. A cool evening breeze wafted in. I stuck my head out and looked over at the parking lot again. Nobody in sight. No need to hesitate. I quietly crawled outside and closed the window behind me. I held my breath and listened carefully. Nobody seemed to realize I'd run. I looked around. Then I jumped onto my bicycle and zoomed away. The pedals clattered under the force. Music is a bit louder than me. Have my bikes always creaked like this? Did the pedals whine every time I pushed down on them? My bike wasn't the only one crying, though. The Higurashi? Oh, you. My tears fell as the wind cut through them. They rose the breeze and scattered behind me. Ugh. I hate this. I'm not the crazy one Hinamizawa is. How dare you treat me like a madman? Die. Just fucking die already. I believed you. I'd gone to the hospital in order to escape Rena and Mion's invitation. But the reality that was waiting for me had been too cruel. Who was insane? Me or Hinamizawa? Or was the answer something else? I started having trouble breathing. I didn't have any clue what was happening anymore. The loud chirps of the Higurashi were irritating me. Were they even the Hinamizawa Higurashi I knew? So while calling into the wind? No, that wasn't quite it. They weren't calling. They were crying. The pained wailing of those lost in some kind of rhythm in another world, no longer longer able to return to their own sunlight. I didn't do all that to end up in a world like that. And actually, at about this time, I might have been having fun with everyone else. Tatsuko would have gotten her smile back after realizing her uncle wouldn't have ever come home, and she might have shown it to us at our first club meeting in a while. That was the kind of world I wished for. But what was this? Why did I end up in such a strange, ghastly world? Someone I had killed was living like normal, and I had enjoyed myself at the festival despite not being there. I don't want it. I don't want this strange world. When did it start to go wrong? When? No matter how much I thought about it, I never understood. I rode swiftly and returned to my home. It began to rain during my journey back, and just like yesterday, I was now soaked. But I didn't care about something so trivial right now. The pain I felt in my heart, that coach, the one person I trusted, was acting so cruelly, was far worse. Did I have no allies in Inamizawa anymore? With the naive thought that I at least wanted my parents to side with me, I stepped up to the front door. Wait, Keiichi. It'll be dark soon. There's something you want to check, right? Yes. I wanted to dig up the man's corpse and get a look at his back. If there's a tiger tattoo there, I'd know beyond a doubt it was Satsuka's uncle. That long night wouldn't end until I was certain. If this insane world was all reparation, all divine punishment, then I needed to make certain whether I had been successful enough to even deserve to pay that price. I went to the storage room again and got the shovel. It had been washed in rain, but the paint was peeling, making it look unsightly. I never wanted to touch this thing. I never ever wanted to touch this thing again. The sensation of it in my hands was totally different from the night before. There was a ruthless coldness about it. Yeah. It would be dark soon, so I'd need the lantern too. There would be a little bit of light from the streetlights, but it would get extremely dark. Ugh. I thought I put the lantern here, but I suddenly noticed it wasn't anywhere to be found. Then it hit me like a bolt of lightning. Of course. That night, I hadn't brought the lantern back with me. I left it at the place I buried the body. If I didn't go to get it soon, it would get very dark. And then not only would I be able to find the spot I'd buried the corpse, I wouldn't be able to find the lantern itself. If that happened, it was all over. I need to hurry. In order to fit the shovel in the basket in front of my bike, I need to twist it and disassemble it. But it looked like there was dirt in the joints, and no matter how hard I pushed, it didn't want to come apart. After a strenuous effort, I realized I couldn't get it apart, so I decided to hold it in one hand and ride my bike with the other. With the downpour soaking me through, and a shovel in one hand, and riding one-handed, it was as if I returned to that night. No, return was the wrong word. It was more like that night had never ended. The pain of the raindrops striking me were no different from then. The thing that was different was Hinamizawa. Hinamizawa, the world and nothing else. The rain clouds were already making it dark, and now it was about time for the sun to set. I could tell it would only get rapidly darker. The straight road leading to town, in the middle of it. That should be where I buried it. Yes. It was near that streetlight. On that night, too, the water from the downpour was splashing down from the street's overhang like a waterfall. The pouring rain was exactly the same as it had been that night, and thus brought my memories into focus. I left my bike in the bush and stepped into the forest. The ground already soaked with mud. Where had I buried him? Think. The darkness, the shadows, the water, the mud. Everything was the same. I'm gonna take a think. And then I spotted the lantern by a fallen, moss-covered tree. Okay, my throat is a little scratchy, so I'm gonna take a quick break. I will be right back. And we're back. And then I spotted the lantern by a fallen moss-covered tree. That's right, I left it right there. If I'd left the lantern here then, I would have buried him over there. With the sensation of standing in the sludge, my feet remembered the spot better than my eyes did. I plunged my shovel into the ground. Ugh, it's hard. It wasn't hair. I just dug it up, so it should have been softer. I stuck my shovel into a few spots to test what they feel like. One of them clearly felt deeper. I recalled where the lantern was, where the trees and things were in relation to each other. I knew that it had to be here. Under here slept that man's corpse. There would definitely be the tattoo of a tiger on his back. But if it wasn't there, then I had made a horrible mistake and killed someone completely unrelated instead. I would be more dazed at the fact that Satoko's uncle wasn't dead than I would regret having gotten someone else mixed up in this. If this insane world was punishment for the sin of committing murder, I wouldn't be able to accept it until I'd killed Satoko's uncle for good. And then, without any fear, I'd attack him again. And that time, I would kill him for sure. But what if the tattoo was there? That would mean I'd killed Satoko's uncle. But that would be terribly strange. If I killed him for sure, then who was the uncle at Satoko's house this very moment? Impossible. I didn't even know anymore that I was using the word, what I was using the word impossible to refer to. I used the words quite a few times already. If I had to make the words impossible fit just one thing, what would it be? Not much was obvious to me. It would be impossible for this crazy world to be real. I shouted, then turned behind me. There was nobody there, of course. It hadn't been bothering me for a while. But those footsteps had followed me this entire day. Even now, even just now, an extra set of footsteps had splashed behind me. No one was actually there. No indications of anyone even. But they were there. Who are you? You've been following me ever since I came to this world. That's right. Thinking back, the first time I heard those footsteps was after Takano-san and I parted. Those footsteps were my welcome into this strange outside world. No one could be there. I'd get no response. Whoever it was, they just kept staring at me. It wasn't ominous, just unpleasant. After staring into empty space for a bit, I was bathed in the rain. My illogical anger slipped away. My tension loosened, and a tired feeling reared its head. I tasted this feeling that night too. The sudden exhaustion I felt as the tension in my brain loosened. My vision quickly narrowed, and I felt everything around me had suddenly gotten darker. I couldn't give in to this sensation. I would light what little explosives were left in my brain and force myself to keep going. I needed to dig that man up before my stamina ran out. I needed to see the tattoo on his back. I caught my suddenly ragged breath and calmed down. Then I stuck the shovel into the soft, muddy ground again. It felt exactly the same as that night. The sense of digging a hole in the beach with water coming into it with every wave. What day was today? Had I gone back to the night of Watsunagashi? Every strange thought that came to mind tormented me. Given my exhaustion, I didn't think I could manage to hold those thoughts back. Once the hole was deep, all illumination finally faded, blanketing my vision in jet black. It was probably the moment the sun had fully set too. That night I had feared the worst, and gone without using much light. My senses were so strained that I could see even in that darkness. Oh, Simply Misty, thank you. Thank you so much for the raid. Welcome. Hang on, I'm trying to scroll it to find your name so I can give you a shout out.
Hi, hello.
Welcome in. My name is Kawalanai. I'm a VTuber and ASMR artist. Yes. Hello. Hi. Currently we're doing an ASMR reading of Higurashi. Raid and run. I'm scared of catching a cold. I'm gonna take some medicine, try my best to eat. Okay, thank you. Alright, sleep well. I hope you feel better. Yes, and also, thank you for becoming a pet rabbit. Yes, thank you, everyone. Sleep well, and also, raiders, if you also need to raid and run, I totally understand. If not, we can get cozy and relax with us. The only thing Misty catches are colds in these hands. Yeah. Go sleep while you get some sleep. You'll work for me. Thank you. Oh, this is an ASMR stream, so it is meant to help people sleep, so it all works out. But yes, thank you for coming. Thank you. But now I didn't have that kind of strength left. I drained everything I had last night, and now the darkness would be lethal. I decided to turn on the lantern. Putting on the first setting would make it give off a faint light. Even with how little there was, it was enough, and people wouldn't be able to see it from far away in this rain. I grabbed the chilled lantern, turned the dial with a click, set it to the weakest light setting, and turned it on. An uncanny world of silhouettes appeared before me.
Yes, hi, hello.
Oh, thank you. Blue Slime, thanks for becoming a pack rabbit. Created by the intricate entanglement of trees and branches. If you're still streaming when it's time for me to sleep, I'll be back.
Yes, hi, hello.
Well, we shall see. Well, thank you for becoming a pack rabbit. A complex and strange world created by the intricate entanglement of trees and branches. I had only turned on the light, but it was like that was all it took to make the world into something else. I let out a quick, tired breath, and wiped the liquid, neither rain nor sweat from my brow. Then I raised the shovel into the air and slammed it into the mud. That moment, the silhouettes surrounding me ominously moved at once. Inside my head, something packed in there, something coarse, but not hot or cold, was loudly rushing out. The silhouettes were all around me, looking down at me. And one of them... Wait, she's finishing Higurashi? I mean... Oh, hello, fanviewer. It's been a while. We finished... like, part 1 and 2. We're on, part 3. I believe there are 6 novels in the series? Yeah. I couldn't stream it on YouTube as well because, like, my internet wasn't the best and I couldn't dual stream, but it seems fine for now, so we shall see. You know what? I think it was because my younger sister was also here, and I think there just wasn't enough Wi-Fi for all of us. Yeah, I think there just wasn't enough Wi-Fi for like for everyone in the house. So, yeah. And when one of them, a silhouette bigger than the other, stepped forward. Oh fuck. Oh no. Oh no 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 no. It's the cops. Good evening. Moon sure is beautiful tonight. The coarseness of my brain shot through my spine and left me at my waist. Yeah, it would have just been better to just go to Satsuko's house and see if her uncle was alive instead of returning to the scene of the crime and digging up a body. You fucking idiot. Fucking dumb idiot. You would think he'd never murdered someone before. The strength in my body all left me through my hips, and I crouched down with a splash onto the seat of mud I dug myself. Oishi. Is that really how you address your elders? You'll have a rough time of it once you become an adult. It wasn't only Oishi, but 5-6 of them in a row. Men wearing raincoats. Would you believe that I am digging a time capsule? I'm retrieving a time capsule. Would you believe that? I had no inkling that this many people had gotten so close. It was like once I turned on the lantern, it just appeared there, sliding out of the shadows. Please, don't mind us. Just think of us as trees in the forest, perhaps. Don't mind them? Yes. Pay no attention to us. Please continue digging your hole. I don't want to do that. It's very late and raining very hard. And you're working pretty fervently. We won't get in your way. Please, dig to your heart's content. No, thank you, I said. I tried to get up and turn around. 2 men blocked that route. They stood on either side of me and lifted me up with amazing strength, then threw me into the sea of mud. As I soaked in the mud bath I dug for myself, I looked up at the silhouettes looking down at me. Oishi squatted and picked up my shovel, then threw it at my feet for me. Hello, Beck. How are you? Welcome. It bounced loudly off the mud and hit me in the face. Come, please continue. Continue. How are you? How are you tonight? Hope you had a good day. I couldn't bear the oppressiveness of the silhouettes surrounding me, and slowly stuck the shovel into the mud again. I felt like I was digging my own grave. I kept digging. Actually took an evening nap. Whoops. Yeah, that happens. I've been trying to like not nap in the evenings, cause whenever I do, I don't really sleep very well at night, as I already slept during the day. Even though I stopped doing that, my sleep schedule is still pretty cursed, so if I kept digging, it wouldn't matter whether there was a tattoo or not, because that man's corpse would appear eventually. It was all over. Surrounded on all sides, nowhere to go. I just couldn't figure it out, no matter how much I thought about it. Why were they here? So the day before yesterday, I slept a ton. Then yesterday, I woke up at 8, from 8 a.m. to 6 a.m. So today, I'm tired again. Yeah, that sounds about right. I wish you could, like, put, like, the sleep you have on credit or something. like, use the rest you have. Like, if you sleep, like, more than usual, you can, like, save that up and use it for later, so you won't be tired later. Why were they here? Was it Takano-san? There's only one person who could have made a connection between me and this place. Shit, I knew it. She deserved to die. Didn't you tell... You told Coach where you buried the body. You fine once I shower and drink some water. Sounds good. Stopping so soon? Ugh, damn. Lucy kicked me in the back, which took me by surprise, sending me flying into the mud. Hurry up and dip, please. You really should consider the fact that some of us are standing out here in the rain. Fuck you, Oishi. Oh wow, you're thinking the same thing. Fuck you. If you don't like the rain, then just go home. Ugh. Oishi kicked some mud into my face. Still lost in the story since I fallen asleep during so many Higurashi streams. Alright, well, recap time. Okay, so Keiichi, our protagonist, Keiichi Maebara, moves to a small town called Hinamizawa. In this small town, they have a festival every year to honor their town's guardian deity, Oyashiro-sama. Alright? 5 years ago, there was a government project Oh, thank you for coming back. They were, 5 years ago, there was a, government project to build a dam that would have flooded the area where Hinamizawa is, and a lot of people would have lost their homes. Because of that, a lot of people, protested it, and it all came to a head when, on the night of the Watsunagashi, the leader of the project was murdered. He was murdered, and the people who murdered him, they like dismembered his body, and they all took a piece. But the person who had one of the arms and the person who orchestrated the entire murder, they never found him. And ever since then, one person dies, one person goes missing. Hello. Oh, hello. I remember you. Hello, Ri. Hi. Welcome. It's been a while. Thank you for that, Pat. So, thank you for the recap. I'll be back if you're still here. No worries. Yes. Oishi kicked some mud into my face. Work, please, instead of talking. Only people from the red light district do both at once. Isn't that right, boys? The men around him did not react, not knowing quite whether they should laugh, but when Oishi glared at them, they started mumbling out pained chuckles. I hope you've been doing good. Welcome to the stream. Just who was this guy? I knew the world had changed after that night. But if I went even further back, didn't it start with when this guy showed up? That was when our peaceful days had been taken from us. Ever since you showed up in Hinamizawa, things had been odd. Everyone stopped smiling and the world went crazy. The ground under my feet gradually got harder and heavier. At this point, even I started to think something was odd. I hadn't buried him this deep on that night, had I? My exhaustion peaked, and I sat down on the spot. How long do you want me to dig? Kids these days have no stamina. Hey you. At Oishi's gesture, the men pulled out their own sinister-looking shovels. As I watched the days, one of them grabbed me by my collar, dragged me out of the hole, and threw me into the ground. The rest of the men stepped into the hole and dug. I dug and started shoveling themselves. As I stared at them dumbfounded, Oishi sauntered over and squatted down to look at me directly. Keiichi Meibara-san, is this a hobby of yours, digging holes on rainy nights? Would you believe me if I said that? If the answer is yes, then yes. When I didn't respond, Oishi took one of the tin buckets they were using to bail out the muddy water, scooped some of it, and splashed the whole thing in my face. What a fucking asshole. The rain's heavy today, too. No matter how wet I get, I still don't understand the appeal. Oishi smiled to himself, then scooped up another bucket full of muddy water. I'll ask you again. Is digging holes on rainy nights your hobby? Sure. It's good cardio. Who the hell would have a hobby like that? Splash. Oishi hit me with another bucket full of muddy water. The pebbles in it stunk. Ugh, fuck. Will there be something in that hole? I've always liked that story, you know? About the old man who could make plants bloom, and the puppy digging in his yard for gold. As he spoke, he ran the bucket through the muddy water again, to splash it in my face again. What kind of treasure is buried down there, hmm? Can't you at least give me a hint? If you want to know, then dig on your own time. You fucking pig. I wasn't saying that out loud, but Oishi mercilessly drenched me in muddy water again anyway. Shit. If only you hadn't showed up, the world wouldn't have gone wrong. Ever since you showed up, things have been strange. Chatsuko got abused by your uncle, I ended up killing him, and the world went crazy. He was how it all began. Because of this culprit. He splashed another bucket of mud in my face. My insides were seething with anger. Die. You die too. If I have some strange power to kill someone by cursing them, like with Takano-san, then you're dead. And it won't be Oyashiro-sama's curse, it'll be mine. I'll curse you and kill you. What a rebellious look you're wearing. Why don't we use this opportunity to teach you a thing or two in that regard? We really do live in peace these days. When I was about your way, corporal punishment was the norm for everything. Oishi-san. One of the digging men in raincoats wiped some sweat off and called Oishi over. Oishi tossed the bucket away, then turned around with an evil grin on his face. Yes, what is it? Please look at this. acceptance or maybe resignation. I wanted to say to them, so you blockheads finally found it. Yeah, that's right. I'm the one who killed him. But you're the police, so it's your job to figure out who he is, right? Come on. Prove to me that he's really Satsuka's uncle. What on earth? You think it's an old drain pipe? It seems to be connected to the irrigation channel over there. What? Let's smash the thing. It's not being used, is it? The men all exchanged glances, then hesitantly broached another topic. Oishi-san, the ground here is pretty hard. I don't think anything could be deeper than this. Did we get the location wrong? No, at first it definitely felt like a place had been dug up before. But after digging so far, the ground suddenly hardened. We think we've gone down further than the hole that was originally dug. Wait, what? So what does that mean? There's a hole here, and someone filled it back up? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Yes, my hobby is in fact digging holes in the ground while it rains. That's the story I'm going with. Yeah. What? Were they talking about? Oh, I'm at a loss. Aren't you? Mibara-san? Oishi grabbed my collar and dragged me to the hole they dug. The mud inside was like an ocean, and I couldn't see any drain pipe down there. One of the men stirred it with a shovel, letting me hear it clang against something hard. There was no doubt I'd buried him here, but I hadn't buried him this deep. I hadn't dug deep enough to unearth an entire drain pipe. So then, this man, his corpse, where was it? Proof that I'd been successful on that night was gone. Gone. Then what on earth was I? Was I actually crazy after all? And just possessed by the delusion that I'd killed someone? That couldn't be. It was the unmistakable truth. It couldn't have been a hallucination. But now the most important evidence that it hadn't been an illusion was gone. I killed him. I buried him. I had absolute unwavering confidence in that fact. Then, did I fail to kill him? After I left here, had he started breathing again, crawled out, and gone back to Satsuka's house? Was that it? Had I come here to see... I'd come here ready to see whether he had a tattoo or not. And yet, the truth I unearthed was far more than that. Yesterday, what was I? I killed him. I buried him. There was no doubt. But for some reason he lived and crawled back out. That was impossible too. Ugh, I'm so tired of hearing the word impossible over and over. I get it. Dead people don't like to play by the rules here in Hinamizawa. Then I'll kill you as many times as I need to. Keep killing you, until you never show your face to Satsuko again. Oishi and the others were muttering to each other. Eventually, their conversation ended when Oishi came towards me. What did he want to say? What did he want to do? I stiffened, tensing up. Then Oishi just ignored me like I wasn't even there. and passed right by me. The other men too. They ignored me and shuffled away. Eventually, there was no longer a sign that anyone was around. I returned to my quiet world of silhouettes. The only one left there was me. Only the sound of the pouring rain filled up the silence. Very, very suspicious. Suspicious indeed. You have received new tips. Inquiry request. Record of malice. Alright. So I guess we'll read... Now let's see how many chapters we have, actually. In this here story. I guess we have 3 more chapters. Demon, Witness the Final Showdown, Liberation, The Great Hinamizawa Disaster. Okay, we got 3 more stories. 3 more chapters then. So we should be able to finish... should be able to finish it this month. And then after that, after this one, I think we will go on to Steins Gate. We'll finally finish Steins Gate. And then You, Me, and Her. And then Clanad, I think. Wait, no. And then You, Me, and Her. Then At Tree, My Dear Moments. And then Clanad. I actually haven't left yet. Bruh. Well, I'm about to end the stream after. I'll find Steins Gate for $5. Nice. Yeah, I believe I also got Steins Gate on sale. Like 3 years ago. That's kind of why I stuck around for a bit. Well, alright, well, we're almost done. Okay. This is the Okinomiya Security. Alright, hang on. Okinomiya Police Station Command Center Transmission Recording, June 20th, 8:08 p.m. Hello, we'd like you to look up a license plate for us. XXXXX. XXXXXX. Right. Please give us a moment to look it up. Thank you. Number match. Owner, blank blank. Address, blank, Hinamizawa Village, Shishibone. Vehicle make and model, blank blank. Theft reports, none. Special mentions, nothing of note. Okinomiya Security Police to Onishi. We found the license plate from earlier. Oishi, do you read? Oishi, please respond. Am I getting a bad signal? Anyone in Oishi's car, please respond. Nothing, huh? Oishi wanted a license plate check? Whose car was it? Someone from the village. A completely average car. Who was it? If Oishi-san was asking, then it can't be anyone good, right? Special mentions column is completely blank. No indication that it's related to the S group either. No demerits on it. Maybe it passed him on the road and he got mad. That guy isn't the type to forget a grudge. Record of malice. He said it smelled. He said the food smelled. He said it smelled because I smelled. A smelly smell that smells smelly. He said I smelled it. He said I smelled because I don't take baths. He said to take a bath 3 times a day because I was a smelly person. He said I had to stay in the bath for a long time every time. He must be possessed by something too. This is the same thing the man who died said. Why does he know? Why does he know what that man said before? That much was obvious. The same thing that possessed that man was now possessing him. Can't a sudden earthquake make a hole in front of the house? If it did, we would definitely go and look into it. And I just have to push him in. I won't give in until I get that chance. I won't give in. I won't cry. I won't give in. I won't cry. Someone is apologizing again. Interesting. Well, I think it is time we end stream. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I had fun. Let me move. Oh wait, no. Boop. Thank you for spending time with me today. I will see you guys tomorrow at the same time. Yes. Let me pause that. And yeah, I'll send you guys to another ASMR artist. So yeah. My channel. Oh, perfect. I see it's streaming. Okay, good night. Good night,